Hello from Australia. My name is Mark Convington and I am the General Manager of Geoimage. And I'm currently recording this from Brisbane in Queensland, Australia, just around about here. Unfortunately, I can't make it there live due to the time zone differences, but feel excited and privileged to be part of this webinar. So a little bit about Geoimage before I proceed. We celebrated 35 years in the business in August last year, so we've been around for a while. We cater to multiple sectors. Most predominantly of those is the mining and exploration, but even within those sectors, the main use cases are around environmental protection. Outside of that, we do service the environmental sector. We do some monitoring of infrastructure using TerraSAR-X. We're active in agriculture and we work for the state governments in Australia, particularly whole of state captures using spot 1.5 meters. So some of the services that we provide to our customers, there's a range of them. I won't go into all of them. One of the main ones that we've developed in the last couple of years is monitoring as a service, and this is of particular interest because Pléiades Neo has played a big part in the success of this particular service. The two constellations providing good revisit rates and good coverage, high quality of the data, and the actual uh, precision of the spatial location have proved very successful for us and for our clients. And so we're very happy to be using Pléiades Neo. So this is an example of some change detection that we've implemented for one particular client that's interested in monitoring the ground disturbance. So as you can see there, in this particular area, vegetation that's being cleared in preparation for construction, but there are very strict regulations around what ground can be cleared. And so for this client who is located about 400 kilometers from the actual site, it's very important to be able to monitor on a very regular basis the actual ground clearance that's occurring. This is another example from another site where the environmental management team are actively trying to monitor the soil condition. What we see here is an area, it looks quite dry. Uh, and so it is in, I guess, during the winter period in Queensland, which is quite dry seasonally. We see a water trough here. We see some active tracks made by grazing cattle, and so the environmental managers would be using this imagery to monitor the condition of the soil and decide on whether to move that water trough or not in order to try and encourage maybe some regrowth. So we do provide NDVI using the Pléiades Neo data, and that's used very effectively by the client. This example here is in Western Australia, and it's a project again that has been running for many years, probably I think since about 2017. In this case, we're actually identifying two different species of mangroves. I won't attempt to pronounce the Latin names, but you can see them there on the screen. So the red one is this mangrove species, and the yellow one is this one. Of particular interest for this client is the actual mix, so the intermingling of those two different mangrove species, and that is actually denoted by this orange color here, which is not so obvious from the optical, but the spectral signature of that mix does allow us to quantify that. And this table here shows a change in the area computed directly from the classification that we performed on the NEO data. So mangroves are very slow growing in general. The ability to actually identify a single tree and the species of that tree is actually really important and significant for us. So it's a great result using Pléiades Neo. We look at the HD15. I think this image is a very good image. It tells a story in its own right. We have 10 centimeter aerial photography, and we have the HD15 product, the same urban area. And I think in terms of showing clients, it's really helpful to be able to show a like for like comparison in the same area. They've been captured at two different times of the year, so there are a few differences, particularly with placement of cars. But apart from that, it serves as a very good illustration of the comparison between 10 centimeter and 15, the HD 15 centimeter. Uh, we could look at specific details, but I think by and large, you can see that there's a lot of similarity. It's actually quite difficult to see where the 10 centimeter is materially different from the HD15. And of course, the capture is faster typically than an aerial capture. It's cheaper, and I think one of the benefits that we've found too is the fact that the HD15 product is created from an algorithm which can be applied to archival data. Means that some of our clients have actually asked us to go back at archival data, take that and have that transformed by the Airbus team into HD15, and they've been very happy with those results. So a good outcome there. Okay, so what I would like to do now is actually show a live demonstration of some of our data, particularly a comparison between the 30 centimeter, the 15 centimeter, and maybe even the 50 centimeters as well. So here we have HD15 over a mining camp in Australia, one of our long-term clients. This is a really, really useful imagery for the client. This mining camp, you cannot be captured via a drone because of the regulations in Australia with drone flying. So basically you cannot fly over a populated area, even if people are inside vehicles. It's just a no-go area. So the alternative would be an aerial survey. In terms of cost, the aerial, when you put into account the flight to actually get to this site from the nearest airstrip, makes it a lot more expensive than satellite. And to be honest, in terms of HD15, whether you actually get a better result from aerial would be debatable. So if we zoom in here, we can see some very nice detail on these water tanks. We can see the pipes being laid there. We can see various vehicles in the yards, utes, large vehicles here. And this imagery is used by in excess of 120 people within this client organization, from civil engineers who are interested in planning out the parking areas for large vehicles to make sure there's plenty of room for them to turn around, through to the planners who are trying to decide, where best to put these accommodation modules. There's environmental managers that are interested in monitoring individual trees. So this is quite a large area. It's in excess of 1,000 square kilometers in total. So it's really important that the trees are monitored. There is one story I was told recently where one tree in particular was seen to be in under stress. They monitored it over several weeks using the HD15, and they decided to send out a field crew from the nearest base, which is about 400-500 kilometers from the actual site. They did some additional tests on the ground around that tree, found there was an issue with the water table, and were able to mitigate that. So a very successful outcome using the HD15 imagery. Just to show a comparison between the 15 and the Neo 30 from which it was derived, I've actually got a slider tool here. So HD15 is on the left, the Neo 30 is on the right, and we can actually see, particularly if I go to this area, so I think quite obvious there in terms of some of those features on the tops of the water tanks that are really not that clear in the 30, but the HD15 really does make a difference there. And I think with these vehicles too, you can see a bit of pixelation with the 30. With the 15, it's very clear. So in general, the perception of the HD15 is very good. Everybody likes to see a sharper image, I believe, and it comes down to a perception. And we're happy to support that. Just, I guess, out of interest, it's interesting to see the 50 centimeters, which was considered to be very high resolution not so long ago. So if I put the Pléiades 50 centimeters here now, so again, HD 15 on the left, 50 centimeters on the right, and it's like night and day. It really is. It's just HD 15 is really an incredible product. So I think in summary, the HD 15 product is filling a very important part of the market for us with our clients. The fact that Airbus have now included the fourth band in that product is also very important for us because we do have clients that are interested in NDVI maps, which we produce using the HD15. So in summary, we have a range of professionals using this data, from civil engineers, environmental managers, mining engineers, culture and heritage people too that are interested in looking at sacred sites within Australia. So that's also a very important consideration and a very important use case for this product as well. So it's a fantastic product. We're looking forward to the year ahead. I'm sure the growth of sales will go from strength to strength. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the webinar. Bye bye.